And as we hit 4 o'clock, we take a look at live pictures from Sky 9, this near I-25 and 470. And that's because police there are warning people to stay inside. And this is a warning from the Douglas County Sheriff's Office just off Jamaica Street, again near I-25 and 470. Ducko Sheriff saying there is a large police presence there, and you can see some of them working right now. It's focused on a complex in the area after a shooting, so they've issued a code red warning for people in the area to shelter in place. At this point, we don't know if anyone's been hurt, and so far, traffic on 25 and 470 have not been affected so far. Again, they're talking about a person of interest at this point and a shooting in that area. Of course, we are working to gather more information from this area on Jamaica Street, right near I-25 and 470. We'll update you with the latest as soon as we learn more about what is happening there. Now we turn our attention to the west side of Denver. One man dead, another in custody after a deadly shooting outside of a popular metro area food hall. And police say it may have started because of a fight at a car charging station.
Police got the call to Edgewater Public Market this morning. That's off 20th Avenue, just west of Sloan's Lake. 9 News reporter Matt Jablow has been at the scene all morning and all afternoon. Matt?
Kim, it's still early in the investigation, but it may have been a fight, police say, over one of these charging stations that led to a deadly shooting in broad daylight in the parking lot of a popular food hall. Crime scene markers in front of a Tesla charging station suggest a disturbing story.
Yeah, it's definitely unusual.
The call came in right around 9:40 Wednesday morning. Some kind of a confrontation between two men in the parking lot of the Edgewater Public Market. When Edgewater police arrived, they found a man shot right in front of a group of Tesla charging stations. First responders took him to a nearby hospital, but he died less than an hour later. Police say the second man, the shooting suspect, left the scene, but later called police and turned himself in. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Department, which assisted in the investigation, says so far the suspect is not speaking with investigators, but they believe the initial argument may have started over one of the charging stations.
I have heard that that's a possibility, but that's something that would be determined through the investigation.
Right now, police will only identify the victim as a 33-year-old man. The suspect, his name and age have not yet been released. Kim?
Tough day, popular area, so many people out on a gorgeous warm day.
The last thing you would expect.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Prosecutors filed 13 charges today against each of the 3 men accused of killing Alexa Bartell by throwing a rock through her car windshield.
Those 3 18-year-old suspects now facing 1 count of first-degree murder, as well as multiple other counts of attempted murder and assault. The 3 men appeared in court today, where they faced those formal charges. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says it was the night of April 19th when there were 7 total incidents where vehicles were struck by large rocks. And in addition to Bartell's death, 3 other drivers were injured. Investigators allege that the suspects even circled back to take a picture of Bartell's car and met the next day to try to get their stories straight. Bartell's family released a statement through the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office saying that, quote, it was not an accident, adding that her death was, quote, an intentional act of violence and malice by 3 strangers. Those suspects will be back in court on May 16th. And in Atlanta today, police are still trying to find the man they say killed 1 person and hurt 4 more in a shooting inside of a medical office. At this point, police say all of the victims are women.
Police say they know who the suspect is. Now they're just trying to find him. Atlanta police are going block by block searching for Dion Patterson. The shooting happened just after noon today. Police say the suspect was with his mother for a medical appointment in the building. Shortly after the shooting, they say he carjacked a vehicle and left the area. We're going to have more in the manhunt and reactions to the shooting coming up at 4:30. Let's take a live look at downtown Denver right now. A beautiful, warm, sunny day around the city. A great Wednesday, a good day to get outside and enjoy a little bit of sunshine, perhaps. Kathy, my car said 82, but I don't know if it was 82. That's what my car said.
I know the carmometer is actually a really good indicator
Oh, it is? Okay.
of what's happening outside, don't you think?
That's true.
They're more precise than we probably initially thought they'd be. They're pretty good.
I know. All I know is my thermometer is basically that everybody I met today was super happy to see me and everybody was in a good mood. And, I was like, I don't take credit for this kind of stuff. And you know that Kim and Tom, when we have a day like this, it doesn't always last, and usually it means something's coming when it looks this great outside. And yeah, this time tomorrow we'll be dealing with scattered showers, maybe a little bit of thunder and lightning. Average high this time of year is about 66 degrees, running 10 degrees above average out at DIA, but we did come close to 80 so far right here in downtown Denver, seeing 80 in Lamar, 81 in Ray, 81 in the Greeley area, and also in Fort Collins. Winds are very light this afternoon out of the east, and even with that easterly wind flow, not seeing a lot of humidity coming in, but that's going to be changing tomorrow. Moisture will be on the increase out of the southwest and the mid and higher levels of the atmosphere tomorrow. With heating of the day, that will mean a round of showers and thunderstorms likely up and down the Front Range. We're just seeing isolated storms this afternoon, tracking a couple with thunder and lightning down around the Trinidad area. Nothing severe there, but right along the Colorado-New Mexico line, if you're driving southbound on I-25, you might run into a brief shower there. Another little cell trying to push into the Sterling area. A little rain, a little thunder. Too much rain, rapid snow melt in northwestern Colorado, creating some flood concerns in and around the Yampa River area. Here in Denver tonight, we've got some high clouds coming in. A beautiful evening. Temperatures in the 70s all the way through 9 o'clock tonight. Coming up in Maine weather, after a mild, quiet evening, we've got scattered showers and storms back in the forecast tomorrow. Will they turn severe? I'll answer that question. And then, of course, we're going to look ahead to the weekend forecast in just a bit.
Oh, we're there. It's hump day.
Since Monday.
Yeah,
I
since
know.
Monday, so it's all good. Okay, we'll look for that. Thanks, Kathy.
Well, here we are in the beginning of May, but there is still plenty of snowpack up in the mountains, and that means that avalanche danger remains a real concern. A man died near Breckenridge on Saturday in an avalanche, becoming the 11th person killed by an avalanche this season, which ties for the second most avalanche deaths in a season since 1951. That's when the Colorado Avalanche Information Center began to track the data. Ethan Green is the director for the CAIC, and he says that people sometimes think that avalanche danger becomes more predictable come springtime. But really, it still just depends on the weather, and it can extend well into the summer.
This year we have a lot of snow, and we've had continued snow into April and now into the beginning of May, which is not that unusual for us. And we are still seeing avalanche danger in the mountains. Just as a contrast, last year, the last fatal accident we had was on May 29th.
Well, Green says that anyone headed to the mountains should always stay up to date on the avalanche forecast and conditions. And if you're traveling in avalanche terrain, you need to be equipped with proper gear to try to keep yourself safe. The Hanging Lake Trail in Glenwood Canyon is temporarily closed again. This after a mudslide on Monday afternoon that's blocking access to the trailhead. Neither the trail nor the lake were impacted, but hikers can't get to the trail until the road is cleared. The U.S. Forest Service says no one was hurt. It's not impacting traffic on I-70, and now CDOT crews are working on clearing the road. Still no word yet as to when it might reopen.
The man accused of shooting and killing 5 people, including a 9-year-old boy in Texas, was finally arrested last night, and now others are in jail as well. Police arrested Francisco Oropesa last night after just a few miles from that deadly shooting. Police say he was hiding under a closet, under laundry. He's facing 5 counts of murder. They also arrested his wife. You just saw her picture. They say she helped him avoid police for so many days. Police arrested 2 others for more minor offenses. Their roles in the shooting and perhaps hiding him are still under investigation.
This afternoon, we learned disturbing details out of Oklahoma. Investigators saying that a sex offender killed 6 people before then turning the gun on himself. It was on Monday that police found the 7 bodies in the small town of Henrietta. That's in eastern Oklahoma. Police say Jesse McFadden killed those victims and then himself. McFadden was supposed to appear in court on Monday in a new child sex abuse trial. Former President Donald Trump's lawyers said today they'll not put on a defense in the civil trial over rape allegations, not presenting a defense in the case at all. E. Jean Carroll, of course, has accused the former president of raping her in the mid-90s and then later defaming her by lying about it. Trump initially had an expert witness lined up to try to rebut her claims. That witness, though, is unable to testify due to health issues, according to Trump lawyer Joe Tacopina. The judge said the case will go to the jury on Tuesday.
Title 42, a Trump-era policy designed to turn migrants away from the border, expires in 8 days. We're already seeing more people line up in El Paso along the Texas-Mexico border to get into the U.S. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez gives us a look at what's happening on the border.
Several cities in Texas have now declared states of emergency, including El Paso, and this is why. There is already an influx of migrants that have shown up here, and hundreds of them have been sleeping on the streets overnight ahead of the expected end of Title 42, a COVID-era border restriction that is expected to be lifted next week. The line of migrants here extends for several city blocks. You can just see right outside of this church. This is a larger group than we saw when we were here several months ago. And so the Biden administration is now deploying 1,500 active duty troops that will not be armed and will help Customs and Border Protection with logistical support here at the border. Critics of the Biden administration, though, say that they should have been planning more for this and that the troops won't make much impact. But the Homeland Security Secretary says it's up to Congress to pass some sort of immigration reform. Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas now plans to visit the border later this week. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News, El Paso, Texas.
The last time we saw this many people along the border was in December and January. Since then, more than 7,000 migrants have come through Denver. Immigration experts have said we could see migrants coming here as a result. NBC is going to have much more on what's happening along the border tonight at 5:30 on Nightly News.